The sound of a slap echoed through the courtroom. Everyone froze. A black woman stood there in handcuffs, silent, after a police officer struck her across the face. People thought she was just another powerless defendant. But what no one knew was this. Seconds later, that same woman would take the judge's seat. The sound of the slap echoed through the courtroom like a gunshot. Everyone froze. Jane Carter, a young black woman in a simple gray dress, stood silently beside the defense table. Her hands were cuffed. Her eyes were calm but burning. She hadn't raised her voice. She hadn't resisted. Yet one officer lost patience. "Don't look at me like that," the cop snapped. Before anyone could react, his hand struck her face. Gasps filled the courtroom. A woman in the gallery covered her mouth. A man whispered, "Did that just happen?" The judge wasn't in the room yet. The court cameras were rolling, and Jane, she didn't cry. She didn't scream. She slowly lifted her head. That moment wasn't weakness. It was history being written. What no one in that room knew was this. Jane Carter did not walk into that courtroom as just a defendant. She walked in carrying a truth that would shake every person present and expose a system that had underestimated her from the very beginning. Jane grew up on the south side of Chicago, raised by a mother who worked double shifts and a grandfather who taught her one thing: never let the world decide your worth. She was brilliant, top of her class, debate champion, law school graduate. But when Jane reported police misconduct after witnessing a violent arrest in her neighborhood, everything changed. She was labeled difficult, then disruptive, then suddenly criminal. A minor charge was inflated. Paperwork disappeared. Evidence twisted. That's how she ended up in court that morning. To the officers, she was just another black woman who needed to be put in her place. But Jane had prepared for this day, not with anger, but with knowledge. She knew the law. She knew the Constitution. And most importantly, she knew exactly who she was. The slap didn't break her. It confirmed what she already knew. The courtroom doors opened. Judge William Harris, an older white man known for strict rulings, stepped inside. He looked around and immediately sensed something was wrong. "Why is the defendant injured?" he asked sharply. Silence. Jane finally spoke, her voice steady. "Your Honor, I was assaulted by an officer of the court." The judge's eyes narrowed. "Is that true?" Before anyone could answer, Jane said something that stopped time. "Before we proceed, I formally request judicial recusal." Murmurs spread like wildfire. She continued calmly. "Due to a conflict of interest? Because I am the appointed special judge for this hearing." Gasps turned into chaos. Jane reached into her folder and placed official documents on the bench, sealed, signed, verified. Judge Harris read them. His face drained of color. It was real. But Jane didn't stop there. She spoke to the courtroom, her voice firm yet human. "This isn't about punishment," she said. "This is about accountability. About a system that forgets the people it's meant to protect." Tears rolled down faces in the gallery. Not because justice was loud, but because it was finally real. That video went viral within hours. Not the slap, but what followed. A black woman, once silenced, now seated where power lived. Jane didn't seek revenge. She sought reform. New policies were introduced. Training was mandated. Cameras became mandatory. Voices that had been ignored were finally heard. And Jane? She didn't stay famous. She stayed purposeful. Years later, when asked how she felt about that day, she said only this: "They tried to humiliate me, but they reminded me who I was. Because sometimes the world pushes you down, only to reveal the seat you were always meant to take. The judge's seat."